Wow. So here's another movie where Michael Shannon plays a guy who's crazy.
Well, a guy who has really big eyes that are way far apart and a crazy looking mouth.
Right.
And he talks a lot like this.
And
then eventually he's going to yell at everybody and tell them what's going down.
Hey, you'd go crazy if you had to see that mug every morning.
That's true.
Maybe one of the few combinations in a romantic comedy with Jennifer Aniston that I'd still be interested in seeing.
That's true. Well, at some point, he's going to freak out and tell her about herself. And we're going to all be there clapping like, yeah!
Right?
I still strive to this day to be that fucking character that he was in that
Revolutionary
movie,
Road.
Revolutionary Road. I'm like, wow, if only I could be that for like a month.
Yeah, but
the world I would immerse myself into.
But that character, remember, that character was like mentally disturbed. But, I mean, he does get his shining moment to tell everybody off, to tell them exactly how it is.
No, I know he's crazy. I
from
know
that
all
point on.
that,
So anyway, speaking of Take Shelter, in a completely different role,
Yeah.
Michael Shannon plays a guy who's kind of crazy.
It's weird, though, because of all the characters he's played that are like fucking crazy, this is the nicest one.
It really
because he
is.
is a sweet guy here. He plays Curtis LaForche, who is lives in a nice house in the middle of the sort of like somewhere.
Well, it's kind of like it's very much a blue collar area that he lives in.
But it's a nicer one
for the area he's in. It's a nicer place.
And
he's got a family. He's got a cute wife.
It's a rural suburban area, as it were.
Yeah.
He's married to Jessica Chastain, which is like my end goal. So I totally get that.
He's got the kids. He's got a
he has
job.
a cute little kid. Yeah,
a daughter named Hannah.
a little daughter.
Yeah,
And,
he's got a best friend who respects him and works under him.
Yeah,
you think?
Well, yeah.
Shea Wiggum.
That guy just looked irritated throughout the whole movie.
That guy always looks that way. Like
really,
he's Steve Buscemi's brother on Boardwalk Empire.
Right.
Always has that look. Mm-hmm. And then he was the guy from the fourth Fast and the Furious movie that Paul Walker punks, the other cop who gets in his face, and Paul Walker punks him in front of everybody. And he just always has that little kind of ratty Weasley type face.
Right. Well, you play the brother Steve Buscemi,
I know.
Got to look the part.
Yeah, exactly. Not many guys can have a Steve Buscemi-sized career and look like Steve Buscemi.
True.
But, it's funny because like at first I was going, so where is this thing going anyway?
Yeah.
Because you're like, it's just so benign. It's like, what's happening?
Well, I don't know, because then it opens like he's outside, and you kind of see a storm, it's raining, and it's raining Gatorade on him.
Yeah.
He's like, look at his hand, like...
Yeah, this yellow mucus looking
Yeah, I was
stuff.
like, is it raining piss? Or what the hell's going on in this guy's world?
I mean, granted, if it had been Idiocracy, it's like, it's got electrolytes.
Right.
But,
Sure.
but if you stepped out now, and the rain that fell on you had a color to it, it'd be like, I think it's time to move.
Yeah, it's time to get
off
under
the
a
planet
goddamn
Earth.
roof. Yeah,
Right. And it's clear early on that he's having a series of nightmares that always start off where neither the audience or him are aware it's a nightmare. It just seems like it's the next scene and he's working in the yard, but then something goes horribly wrong and they start increasing in intensity to a rather severe level, like where his dog attacks and mutilates his daughter,
which freaked me out.
Yeah.
I got to say, with these nightmare scenes, every one of them got me.
Oh, yeah. No,
even like, you're like, okay, at this point, I should know better, but they were so horrific and seemed so real.
Well,
yeah.
because,
They're so well orchestrated, and that's another thing. Like, there's never a moment where it's like a transition because you just think, it's just another day. So when it happens, it's even that more shocking.
Yeah. And they're not like Nightmare on Elm Street style nightmare sequences. They're like I said, it seems like it's normal life, and what happens is like, wow, like worst case, like the crazies more, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Where people around you and things around you just start like acting incredibly wildly, irrationally, and violently. It's like, wow. So slowly he's hiding this from everyone, but he's pushing all these people and these things away from him. Like he built a cage for his dog in the backyard, and his family's like, what the hell? It's like the nicest dog in the world. Why in the world
He's
would
like,
you...
yeah, you think so.
And he's going on trying to figure out, is this connected to his mother? His mother, who has severe schizophrenia,
right,
and is in played by Kathy Baker, and is in a home for it. He's like, am I... he's actually very rational about it. Considering
all things considered, yeah.
We've seen a lot of films where people go crazy and they almost never go, well, fuck, I must have schizophrenia. They never say that.
They never do.
That's got to be it. But
although you got to admit, like, people always say, like, well, if you think you're crazy, that proves you're not crazy.
Right.
He kind of disproves that.
Yeah. Well, true. You know what? Yeah, because like I think that in real life, a lot of times people are like, these things can come on later in life, and you go, okay, I know something is fucking wrong here, and I know there's a medical history. And as he's watching this happen, it starts getting past the point where that even makes any difference anymore, because either he's severely schizophrenic, or he really is a prophet of the end times coming, and he starts, to be sure, using all his money to build a giant storm shelter in his backyard.
Which it'd be like, hey, it's a free country, do what you want. But he's sort of using like materials from his office.
Yeah,
from his
he's
work,
using other people's money and materials.
And
that's kind of like.
And it's not like he's borrowing a stapler. He's using some heavy duty fucking equipment that you need permits to move off a lot. And he's just like, I'm just gonna borrow it this weekend. Where I'm like, that's a good sign of crazy right there.
It's like you took the bulldozer from work. Oh, yeah, that's not a problem. I was going to put it back.
And it's neat just because, he gets obsessed over this shelter because of these visions that he's having without really explaining it to his wife, to where, they establish early on that they have a daughter who's, I believe she's hearing impaired.
Right. Yeah.
And, they're trying to get her into these programs to help her out, and they're not cheap. So that they're kind of in a financial bind already. So when he starts his path to crazy, you can't help but go, dude, you need to stop this shit, or your wife's going to go fucking crazy on your ass. You need to calm down.
Yeah, you do have so much sympathy for her. I'm the one who really takes care of the daughter.
But for him as well, because like I said, this is a guy who, like I said, the audience ultimately has to make up their mind on this, but is he going crazy? And if you presume that he's handling about as well as anyone could possibly do it, because he is a nice guy. He does want to be the responsible dad, and for him, being the responsible dad might very well mean fuck all that other shit. I got to build this storm shelter.
That's true.
He's doing that ultimately to protect his family in his head.
Even though everyone around him is like, why are you working on that stupid thing? It's like when's the last time they had a storm in this community? Because it's like, really, you still have one of those?
He's like, why don't you just ask Noah, motherfucker?
Why not?
You know what, Coach? You bring up a good point, because where they live looks just like Tornado Alley.
It really does.
It's like that flat land in the middle of America that gets hit with tornadoes all the time. So you would think there'd be more people like, oh, you're finally getting around to doing one of those.
Well,
cool, I
he
gotta do that
actually
myself.
has a storm shelter already, but it's a little tiny thing.
Yeah.
What he wants to do is expand it so it's good to stay down there for a long time.
Like he was getting ready for the fucking apocalypse. I mean, he really was.
Yeah, because his dreams are apocalyptic.
Yeah, and I can't blame him, because and if I was living in that area where it's just completely flat and I see the first fucking cloud of any kind of thunder, I'm like, oh fuck.
Exactly.
My way of life is over.
But I gotta say, this is a film. It took me a while to decide how I felt about it completely, because I don't want to say too much about the end, but at first I felt like it was kind of betraying the message of the film. But the more I thought about it, the more I talked about it with other people, the more I thought, there's an entirely different interpretation of this that makes a lot more sense and fits in with everything. And I felt like wow, all my worries are over. It's a great fucking film if you look at it that way.
Yeah, because it's not really spelled out, but I had the same kind of issue where when I was watching it, I was like, okay, wow, at least Michael Shannon. I mean, I can stare at that guy all day. If there's a Michael Shannon aquarium, I would be there every day just watching it.
It freaked me out.
No matter where you are, it looks like his eyes are watching you.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he looks like he's gonna get pissed. Oh shit!
I'm gonna buy you a walleye pike for Christmas.
Yeah, I can't wait till they feed him. Yeah, but I mean, watching his performance was great and all, but at the same time, I was like, wow, this story is really taking its time to unravel. I mean, man. But when it starts to, it slowly gets more and more interesting up until the conclusion. It's obviously left to interpretation.
Oh yeah.
So if you're okay with that, I honestly think that you're not gonna walk out going, "What the fuck was that?"
It's a super mature film, and it's funny because the way that you take it at first is like, wow, that's really like. Like the whole rest of the film is so smart. It's so well put together. It's very slow in the way that it puts all its elements together, and it's very character based. And then the end is almost like you're watching a genre film all of a sudden. You're like,
that's
what?
exactly what I thought too. Especially since it played at Fantastic Fest,
right?
That makes it seem more like that. I mean, the ending is just sort of going womp wah.
Yeah, I couldn't help but because during the slow parts, I kind of had to keep telling myself, okay, let's just pretend like this is the further adventures of Donnie Darko if he actually lived and went through adulthood.
It feels
almost.
it's Donnie Darko without all the craziness as much. It's
more
of like a real world version of that.
Because I was really curious about the cinematographer who worked on this, because I mean there were a lot of scenes just where this guy's like staring at clouds that it was echoing Donnie Darko.
Oh yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah.
With the sort of at points kind of ambient score going with it as well.
That too. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a think piece. It's more than anything a performance piece. I mean, Jesus Christ, Michael Shannon, that guy, no matter what he's in, you're just like mesmerized by his performance. But he's so fucking weird looking.
Yeah,
like his eyes are too far apart or something. You're like, man, I don't know.
He's the new Jack Elam.
He kind of is, right?
He's just not funny. He's more creepy.
Yeah, I'll watch him in anything, and this may be his best performance. In fact, I mean, this is probably one of the only ones where of a film that's going to get a certain amount of wide distribution and probably a lot of Oscar talk, that he is no question the main character.
Oh, easily, and I think it'll be just because of his performance, that alone, honestly. But they can throw in whatever else they want, direction or whatever, but it's like, no, the only reason why anybody's really paying attention is because of that guy. You know, he's carrying this movie.
And to say he's carrying it isn't to say the rest of it's weighing it down. It's just that his performance is that great. It makes the whole movie really good film.
It really does.
I think it is the thing that makes the movie stand out, where, you know what, it's a good serious movie and it's adult, but I have to side with co-host that it just slows down way too much for so long. And it's only his performance that keeps it interesting. Like, what's this guy going to do, and how's this ultimately going to shake out? When it comes to the ending, I tend to go more with Occam's razor. I'm not trying to read too much into it. I kind of feel like that wah-wah is still there, but I see more to it, to where I'm like, you know what? I also see another side to where both things coexist, and so I can be okay with it.
It's weird for me. I look at it the same way, except I take it the other way, because I'm like, wow, Occam's razor in this case seems to suggest that the simplest answer is that it would fit into the context of the rest of the film. So I have to go, oh, well, looking at it that way, it makes a lot more sense if it's not a wah-wah. People are like, what the fuck are you talking
I know.
I'm like, what the fuck is Occam's razor? Is that made by Gillette?
It means the simplest explanation is usually the right one.
Well, let me write that down.
Yeah. So I ended up giving this movie like a very high matinee, and it could have been more if there'd been more about the movie to just rave about. I mean, the big thing to rave is certainly Michael Shannon's performance. And if you were to see this movie and go like, I think maybe I'm starting to get bored, just wait, because his moment is coming up. And it's going, whatever you're doing, if you sucking down soda, you're gonna choke. So don't do that. If you're eating popcorn, you're gonna spew it out. So don't. That's what you've been waiting for the whole movie.
Oh boy, they're feeding him,
and he's gonna deliver. But yeah, that's kind of where I fall on it.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. The movie as a whole is definitely full matinee. But for Michael Shannon his part, I give it full price. But yeah, I mean, it is one of those movies, if you got some time on your hands and you don't have anything to do and you just want to watch a really great performance, I think you'll enjoy this. I'd be a little hesitant to recommend it to everyone.
Right.
But I did like what it was doing. And like I said, I mean, there is a bit of just, I don't know if you'd call it like a otherworldly type feel to this movie, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Oh yeah, I think I liked it a little bit more than you guys. I love films that deal with whether or not somebody is like sane or not, and in an intelligent manner. And I feel like this is one of the most down
it did one of the best jobs
films
of that,
where it's like really not playing with genre elements barely at all, like most of them do. It's more like really focused on this guy's pain and confusion, and you couldn't get a better actor for that. But for me, it's a full price. It's a solid full price. I think this is a film people will be going to and talking about in circles that we wouldn't otherwise expect, just because it's going to get a lot of buzz. I really do. Yeah. Either that or maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
You could be crazy.
Well, the world's coming to an end. Hey, man, just because you're crazy doesn't mean you're wrong.
I don't know. I do have a background in that sort of thing. I'm told that I liked Spider-Man 3, so you never know.
That's goddamn right.
Your mother was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia in her 30s.
I thought people were watching me and listening to me.
Dillard's been telling me how strange Curtis has been acting lately.
Is anyone seeing this?
Told people what you've been doing.
I know. I'm sorry.
Is this how you treat friends?
Yeah, I'm fine.